Hey, hey, hey. Welcome to the Jay Show. As I said in my trailer, my name is Jay. Well, it's really Joe now. I live in Barbados and I love Sesame Street. And I have a crush on Chris from Sesame Street. And here's why. Now, I was born in 1988, which makes me 22 this year. Ah! Wonderful. Fantastic. Lovely. um, And so I would have been 8 years old when Chris came to Sesame Street. But I didn't develop a crush on him until now. And the reason is that looking back on it, in retrospect, having a guy like Chris on television for not just young people, meaning children, to see, but for their parents and for the siblings of these children and for people in general to see is just such positive representation of young black men. Like when Chris was introduced to Sesame Street, he was introduced as a student who was looking for a job at Hooper's to pay for his books. The most relatable thing that you can ever think of. And the characterization of Chris is just this cool but quirky guy who is so compassionate and caring and patient and loving with these Muppets that always seem to get him involved in the craziest hijinks. And I'm not gonna lie, I just turned 22 on the 27th of this month and I've been binge watching Sesame Street and he made me feel comforted. He really did. I felt at peace watching Chris and his beautiful round head. Because it's like he spoke to me. He probably spoke to the inner child in me. Being young, trying to figure out life, I needed a Chris. And the fact that he's young, he's black, he's a fairly tall guy as well, and yeah, he's cuddly, like he has a bit of size. And to be fair, like I don't live in the US, I live in Barbados. Whoop whoop, 246, stand up, but knowing all of the stuff that's been going on in the US as it relates to gun violence and stuff like that, having a Chris being such a positive representation is amazing. It's amazing. I'm being a bit obsessive and being a bit of a sleuth. I went and I checked out the actor Chris Knowings, and he is just like his character. Amazing. Like, what? That's fantastic. But I'm starting at the middle point of the story. How did I even start to binge watch Sesame Street episodes and discover this crush on Chris Knowings? Well, it started off actually with a show called Taina. You might not know of Taina. I didn't know of Taina, but I was just surfing on YouTube and this show came up. Well, it actually came up through watching a video about someone comparing Taina to Victorious. So I was curious. It looked like a cool show and I checked it out. I watched all 26 episodes. I wish that it had more, but I must admit, it was a complete show even with the 26 episodes. I loved it. I loved it. And I connected and resonated with the character of Lamar. Lamar being Chris Knowings. And then it was like, oh my god, this guy, he looks really familiar. And it triggered memories in my childhood where I went back to Chris from Sesame Street. And then it was like, oh my gosh. It's a weird thing. Like, back when I was 8, I had a crush on Chris Brown. Not Chris Knowings. Like, he was cool and all, but Chris Brown was it. Like back in 2007, Chris Brown really was it. He was huge. He's still relatively huge now, but in that era, before the stains on his career, he was huge and he was everywhere. And he came to Barbados, and I didn't get to meet him, and that crushed my spirit, my heart, my mind, and my soul. But anyhow, I had a massive crush on Chris Brown, and I'm not gonna lie, I still admire him. I admire his tenacity. I love his music. I'm a huge fan of Chris Brown, but being older, being a bit wiser, I have to give my hats out to Chris Noings. Like, damn. It's only when you get older sometimes that you realize the impact of the characters who existed in your children's shows or your children's television shows. And Sesame Street itself is such a wonderful institution. And I'm going to talk a lot about Sesame Street on this podcast, and shows like Bear in the Big Blue House and Blue's Clues and In the Wiggles World and St. Bear's Dolls Hospital. And I'm going back through my nostalgic memories here, folks. And The Wubblers World of Dr. Seuss. Just children's programming in general, because it's crucial. I find back in my day, which wasn't that long ago, we had a lot more options. And options that were vetted, options that were carefully planned, especially in the case of Sesame Street. Now, let's really talk about Sesame Street and the reason that Sesame Street was invented. Back in 1969, because Sesame Street recently celebrated its 50th anniversary in 2019. So back in 1969, a child psychologist, name I can't remember right now, but in another podcast episode we'll go deeper into that, and oh my goodness, a child psychologist and a television executive. I think that was her job title. If I'm wrong, don't sue me. I'm gonna go back and I'm going to get more of these facts, and we're going to discuss that in another episode. They came together and they created Sesame Street as a way to reach inner city youth in New York and in those areas. From the beginning of Sesame Street, they were diverse, and they dealt with some very heavy topics like death, divorce, HIV/AIDS, natural disasters, humanity, and just, I'm sounding emotional because I am, because that show was crafted with so much heart. Like, Barney couldn't compete with Sesame Street when you really look at the longevity and the impact, because the purpose of Sesame Street always went beyond just simply being a children's educational show, and it went into educating young people and really crafting the lives of many people. That's why even adults older than I am, have fond memories of Sesame Street. So I salute you, Sesame Street. You are a big part of my childhood, and I have a massive crush on Chris. Like, he is so cute. He is cute. He is just cute and cuddly. And I can understand why children would take to him. Like, watching him acting in the role of Chris, he really loves what he's doing, and you can tell that this is not forced. Through his little mannerisms, his laughter, his facial expressions, he is taking it all in, and he is having a wonderful time with these Muppets and with these, I call them Muppeteers, but Puppeteers, it's interchangeable. I'm really just enjoying being on Sesame Street. And when I realized that he came from a comedic background in terms of being in Taina, I was like, it made a lot more sense. It explained a lot of stuff. And it was just fascinating seeing him play more of a teenager, young adult character in Taina, with him being Lamar Carlos Johnson, the director guy who had a crush on Taina, but never got to see it to fruition. Now, you need to watch Taina, guys. Taina Tahina is like that Soul Raven meets Victorious, but better than Victorious in my opinion. And I haven't watched all of Victorious, but I did see a couple of episodes of Victorious, and to me Tahina is better. It just has a richer storyline, representation for colored people, because Christopher Noyes is black. Renee, the character of Renee, Kaylee Adams is black. Tahina's Latino. There was white representation too in terms of Dan, and there was Maritza played by Latangela, and she's also black. So to have a cast that was predominantly people of color represented in such a realistic, down-to-earth, and genuinely funny way was amazing, and I really enjoyed the show, and I love the theme song. Tahina, Tahina, I know you can't wait to see my name in lights. No one's gonna stop me, you see, I will go far. Tahina, Tahina. I bet you didn't know I could sing like that, but I can. But it was a wonderful show. I really, really enjoyed it. I did, and I'm probably going to watch it again tonight. I just had a lot of fun with it. But as I was saying, like, being able to see him in a slightly more mature role, even though he was playing a teenager, I could see the children's television program actor within Chris Noyes in his role as Lamar, because he was compassionate even from then. He was patient even from then. He had a lot of heart, man. He had a lot of heart and a lot of character within his character. And I think some people are just born to play certain roles, and he's definitely found his niche, and I celebrate him. I salute him, because he's a positive impact on our young minds, and he's cute, and he's cuddly, and he's 40. Doesn't look it, but he's 40, and that's old enough to be my uncle. That's old enough to be my dad. So technically I could call him daddy. I'm not not in a sexual way, guys. Not in a sexual way, no. But he could be my dad, and he seems that he would make a very good dad, So hats off to you, Chris Noyes. I apologize for stalking your tweets, because he was pretty hard to find, guys. He was pretty hard to find on social media. He only really has a Twitter. Like, he's a pretty low key guy, so it was hard to find information. But looking at his Twitter, the person on Sesame Street and the person in real life, it's the same. So I salute you. I like you. I like you a lot. And continue to do what you're doing there on Sesame Street, being such a positive representation of young black men. And what I respect about Sesame Street was that from the beginning they had good black representation with Gordon and with Susan, and I think that that's missing in today's programming. I'm gonna let you guys in on a secret. I don't really watch Netflix. I am a YouTube kind of girl. I watch a lot of weird stuff on YouTube. Okay, I'm a YouTube girl, not a YouTuber, but a YouTube girl, because I don't even have a TV. Like, I just chill on YouTube, watching videos. That's how I get my entertainment. And hats off to people who are YouTubers. The production quality is fantastic. The way that you do what you do is incredible. I don't know if I would ever have the guts to become a YouTuber, to be honest. This podcast just came about by me being bored and going for it, to be honest, to be frank with you. But I'm kind of more comfortable with people hearing my voice than for them to see my face, and for thousands of people to see my face. Like, and I don't think I'm that bad looking, but it's just one thing to get in front of a camera and create content for people in such a profound way. So, profound. I'm going to leave that word profound, but I salute you, YouTube and YouTubers. You keep me entertained. Thank you for your content. Thank you for doing you. YouTube is going to be the new TV soon. It's going to take over television. But I just wish that the ads would stop cutting in at the most random times. I understand that the AdSense pays YouTubers and stuff like that, but damn, like it just cuts in at the most random times. Come on, man. Come on. Come on! Why? Why? But anyhow, like, I have a crush on Chris Knowings from Sesame Street, and I have a crush on Chris Brown as well. And to me, they represent two kind of guys that get my attention as a young black female. Now, I am not single. For the record, I am not single. I am in a happy, committed relationship with someone that I love a lot. He is incredible. He is fantastic. I love him with all my heart, mind, and soul. And I'm getting all mushy here, but I'm covered on the relationship front. But in terms of guys that catch my interest, it's interesting that a Chris Brown caught my eye when I was younger. Like, I was one of those girls that when the whole thing went down in 2009, I defended Chris Brown. And I regret that a little bit now, because domestic violence is no joke. I think it was because I was kind of jealous of Rihanna. And in the next episode, I'm going to dissect that. Because I have nothing better to do. So I'm probably going to record about 3 to 4 episodes of this podcast tonight. Raw, uncut, and unfiltered. About 30 minutes each. So it's going to be me, a genuine Jonah. Because that's my name. My name is Jonah. But J, it's going to sound kind of cool. You're going to get a lot of me. So stay tuned for that. But yeah, I was one of those girls that really defended him. And even up to now, I'm still a big fan. I love his music. And I genuinely think that he's a cool guy. I do. Unlike Chris Knowings, who really was hard to find information on, you can easily find information on Chris Brown. And I've been stalking him a little bit. His social media, his videos and whatever, and I kind of discovered that underneath the inability to control his emotions lived a pretty cool guy who likes anime and cartoons and painting and music and weird YouTube videos just like I do, and he resonates with me. He reminds me of my older brother in a way. And he's 31, I'm 22, so he could be my older brother. And there's something about that I think a lot of young black girls can relate to. And I think that that's why a lot of young black girls continue to be Chris Brown fans, because he feels familiar. Is that a good thing or a bad thing? I don't know. It's a nuanced conversation. Should we only accept the Chris Knowings and toss the Chris Browns to the side? This is a tale of two Chris's, and in the black community, especially with women thinking about going their own way and having less to do with black men. How do we fix this discrepancy? I have no idea. I don't know. I've heard a lot of words thrown around YouTube like misogynoir and all of that stuff, and I don't know. I don't know what the answer should be. I don't know. Part of me thinks that it would be a terrible idea to get rid of relationships to black men, but I've been fortunate to have a balance in my relationships. I've had negative relationships with black men. I have. But I've also had some pretty positive relationships with black men, like the black man in my life. So I am on the fence. And I don't think it's my place to really judge women who decide to date outside of their race permanently, but it is kind of tricky. And it is sad when you feel like your only option is to go outside of your race in order to find a guy that's going to take care of you. And we need more Chris Knowings in the world, man. We need more Chris Knowings. And this podcast started off a bit in jest with it. Ha ha, I have a crush on Chris from Sesame Street. But genuinely, we need more Chris Knowings. We need more guys who are just good guys. Who are just solid guys. And I know that they exist. I've met them. I've interacted with them. But what is it that prevents majority of our black men from being like that? That's the question. What is it that's preventing majority, not just some, but the vast majority of our black men from being like that? What is it within our communities that we need to heal? Not just in the U.S., because remember, I don't live in the U.S. I live in Barbados. I don't know if you can hear the accent. I mean, if you've heard Rihanna talk, you can probably tell that I am a Bajan. You know, I is a Bajan. I'm a Barbadian citizen, so I live in the Caribbean. I don't live in the U.S. I don't have the knowledge of what it's like in the U.S. So I can only speak from where I'm at, all right? I can only speak from me being within the Caribbean. And what I can say is, even here it's complicated. But I've been fortunate to have good black men in my life. Is it because I'm Christian? Because I do strive to live a Christian life. Is it because of that? I don't know. Because there are also guys who claim to be Christian and beat their wives and are genuinely not very good people. Maybe I've just been blessed to have a balance in that regard. And if you're a black woman and you haven't been so blessed, you haven't been so lucky, my heart aches for you, because having experienced a good black man, a guy who's solid and reliable and I'm talking about my partner here. He's solid, he's reliable, he's a genuinely good person, and I've been fortunate to find him. And there are many black women who would love a guy like that, but their options are very slim. And my heart goes out to you, because black women, we deserve to be protected. We deserve to be loved. We deserve a Chris from Sesame Street. We do. Yeah. So this podcast has gotten a bit heavy. But I've got the range, baby. I've got the range. I'm letting you know that this is unscripted. There is no script that went into the making of this podcast. This is just off the top of my head. I tend to talk like this, and I'm putting on a bit of a nicer voice so that I don't sound really terrible. This is my radio voice. Hello. You're tuning in to the J Show on Anchor FM. But it's unfiltered. These are thoughts that I process daily as a young black female, even though I live in the Caribbean, making that transition from childhood into adulthood, and then trying to face all the complicated issues that we have to deal with as young black women. And it's pretty complex indeed. Now, within my mind, I feel as if I'm going towards a different topic. So I'm going to end off this episode right here. And if you didn't take anything away from it, let me summarize it a bit. We need more Chris's. We need more Chris's. Especially like Chris's from Sesame Street. We need more guys like that in the world for us black women to have. We deserve to be protected. We deserve to be loved. Sesame Street is awesome. Taina is awesome. Go and watch Taina, man. Big credit to Nickelodeon and the people that created that show. Chris Brown music is cool. He's a cool guy. Messed up guy in some regards. But we all have our Chris Browns in our lives. I'm going to do a podcast dissecting that a bit more. But this is Jay. This has been the first episode of the Jay Show. I'm probably going to title it... I'm I'm probably going to title it The Battle of Two Chris's. I've enjoyed talking with you guys. It's been fun. I'm signing out. Bye.